Your heart beats, your blood flows, but lately something feels off. Your waistline has crept up, blood pressure numbers climb, and you wake already tired. It is not dramatic enough to rush to the hospital, yet it never truly leaves your mind. This is the quiet alarm of metabolic syndrome. Today we will gently open that door, guided by the low sodium wisdom of Christopher Lower, and explore how food can either fan the fire or finally calm it. Metabolic syndrome is not a single disease, but a web of risks: high blood pressure, elevated blood sugar, extra fat around the waist, abnormal cholesterol. Each strand pulls on your heart and blood vessels. You may function, work, care for family, smile in photos, yet inside, pressure quietly rises. Understanding this web is the first act of self-respect. Before we talk recipes, we must understand what your body is trying to tell you. Now, look closer at one invisible thread in that web: sodium. Not just the salt shaker you see, but the sodium you do not see. Inside canned soups, breads, sauces, frozen meals. Like tiny grains of sand in a machine, excess sodium slowly wears down your blood vessels, raising pressure and straining the heart. You do not feel one salty meal, but you live the weight of thousands of them. Can changing this tiny mineral really shift your future? Christopher Lower wrote the Essential Low Sodium Cookbook not as a punishment manual, but as a survival map. He understands the fear that comes with a high blood pressure reading, the confusion in the grocery aisle, the grief of giving up favorite foods. His recipes are less about restriction and more about redesign. With him, we explore how flavor can grow while sodium shrinks, and how each meal can become a gentle act of repair. Many people with metabolic syndrome wait for a crisis, a heart attack, a stroke, a frightening diagnosis. But damage builds in silence years before that day. Studies show that even modest sodium reduction can help lower blood pressure and reduce strain on the heart. The earlier you act, the more gentle your path can be. This journey is not about fear, it is about refusing to wait until your body screams when it is already whispering. Imagine a quiet kitchen. You wrap the cuff around your arm, press the button, and wait. The monitor beeps. The numbers are higher than last year. Again, there's a moment of helplessness, then a spark of resolve. It is here, between fear and choice, that your story can change. Instead of asking, "What is wrong with me?" you begin to ask, "What small thing can I change today?" For metabolic syndrome, breakfast is a powerful place to start. Most people think, "I do not even use much salt," yet sodium is a master of disguise. Bread, breakfast cereals, deli meats, cheeses, canned vegetables, sauces, instant noodles, each adds a little. Together, they surpass daily limits before afternoon. For metabolic syndrome, this hidden overload is especially dangerous, pressuring already stressed blood vessels. Learning to see these invisible grams of sodium is like finally turning on the light in a cluttered room. Sodium attracts water, like a magnet pulling droplets. When you eat excess sodium, your body holds onto more fluid. That extra fluid increases the volume of blood flowing through your vessels, raising pressure against their delicate walls. For someone with metabolic syndrome, already facing insulin resistance and cholesterol issues, this extra push can accelerate damage. Lowering sodium is like gently releasing pressure from a balloon before it bursts. Guidelines often recommend limiting sodium to about 1,500 to 2,300 milligrams per day for heart health, but numbers alone can feel cold. Instead, think in steps. If your current diet is high in processed foods, aim first to cut obvious sources, salty snacks, instant meals. Replace one item at a time with a lower sodium choice. For metabolic syndrome, even a partial reduction can support blood pressure control. Always discuss targets with your physician before major changes. One of the greatest fears is that low sodium means low joy, bland, lifeless meals. Christopher Lower's message is different. Salt is only one path to flavor. Acids like lemon and vinegar brighten food. Herbs and spices add layers of aroma. Garlic, onion, ginger, and pepper create warmth and complexity. When you reduce sodium, your taste buds slowly awaken. What once seemed tasteless becomes rich again, like hearing instruments in a song you never noticed before. Let us return to that morning kitchen. You set aside the processed sausage and salted buttered toast. Instead, you build a bowl of oatmeal cooked without salt, topped with berries, nuts, and a sprinkle of cinnamon. Perhaps you add a boiled egg without salt, but rich in protein. This simple swap lowers sodium, supports blood sugar, and keeps you full longer. Important allies in metabolic syndrome. One breakfast will not cure you, but it can begin to shift your day's chemistry. In the grocery store, your most powerful tool is not willpower, it is your eyes. Turn packages over and look for sodium on the nutrition facts label. Notice the milligrams per serving and the serving size. Foods labeled 5% daily value or less per serving are considered low. 20% or more is high. Over time, label reading becomes almost automatic, like checking price tags. This small habit can quietly transform the sodium landscape of your entire week. Some products wear a healthy mask. Whole grain breads, vegetable juices, low-fat soups, yet many are loaded with sodium for taste and shelf life. For someone with metabolic syndrome, these disguised choices can sabotage good intentions. Christopher Lower encourages looking beyond front labels like light or fit and going straight to sodium numbers. Do not be discouraged when favorites disappoint you. Think of it as discovering who your real allies are on this journey. Eating out often feels like a reward, but for sodium, it can be a minefield. Restaurant meals, especially fast food and chain dishes, are frequently packed with salt to intensify flavor and keep costs low. One entree can exceed an entire day's recommended sodium. With metabolic syndrome, frequent high-sodium meals can continuously push blood pressure into dangerous territory. Awareness does not mean you can never eat out, only that you learn to navigate more wisely. When you do eat out, small requests matter. Ask for sauces and dressings on the side. Choose grilled, baked, or steamed items over fried ones. Request no added salt during cooking when possible. Share large portions or take half home. For metabolic syndrome, stabilizing blood pressure is like building a dam against future complications. Every lower sodium choice is a brick. Before making dietary changes, or if you take blood pressure or diabetes medications, consult your physician. Changing how you eat touches deep places: childhood memories, comfort rituals, celebrations. It is normal to feel anger, sadness, even a sense of loss when you reduce salty comfort foods. Christopher Lower acknowledges this grief and invites you to see each adjustment not as punishment, but as a declaration: I am worthy of long-term health. Metabolic syndrome may feel like a verdict, but it is also an invitation to rewrite your relationship with food and with yourself. Your kitchen can either pull you back into old habits or support new ones. Start by stocking basics: unsalted or low-sodium broths, no salt added canned tomatoes and beans, fresh or frozen vegetables, whole grains, lean proteins. Replace the salt shaker on the table with a tray of herbs, pepper, lemon wedges, and infused vinegars. When your environment changes, willpower is less necessary. For someone with metabolic syndrome, a prepared kitchen becomes a quiet ally, meal after meal. Many recipes begin with broth, a frequent sodium bomb. Christopher Lower suggests building flavor at the base with aromatic vegetables: onion, carrot, celery, garlic, gently sautéed in a little healthy oil. Add herbs like thyme or bay leaf, then water or low-sodium broth. As it simmers, flavors deepen naturally. For metabolic syndrome, using such broths allows comforting soups and stews without the heavy sodium load that quietly drives blood pressure higher. Think of herbs as a garden of alternative salts. Basil adds sweetness to tomatoes. Rosemary loves roasted potatoes. Cilantro brightens beans and fish. Dill dances with cucumbers and yogurt. Dried herbs are convenient. Fresh herbs add fragrance. When you start seasoning generously with herbs, you realize how one-dimensional heavy salt had become. For those with metabolic syndrome, these plants are more than garnish. They are tools to reclaim pleasure without burdening the heart. Acid is a quiet magician. Just a squeeze of lemon or a splash of vinegar can make a dish feel saltier, even when sodium is low. This trick works because bright acidity wakes up taste receptors. Try finishing vegetables, fish, or grains with lemon juice. Drizzle a little balsamic over tomatoes. Add rice vinegar to stir fries. For someone with metabolic syndrome, such small flavor upgrades can make sustainable change more enjoyable and therefore more realistic. At midday, hunger often meets haste. Vending machines and drive-through windows whisper to your fatigue. Instead, picture this. You open a container of quinoa salad with colorful vegetables, chickpeas, fresh herbs, and a lemon olive oil dressing made without added salt. Each bite is crisp and satisfying. Compared to a salty fast food sandwich, your blood pressure and blood sugar rise more gently. For metabolic syndrome, these quiet differences, meal after meal, shape tomorrow's lab results. Snacks can either be bandits or bodyguards. Chips, salted nuts, crackers, and instant noodles are sodium bandits, stealing heart health with every handful. Bodyguard snacks include raw vegetables with hummus, unsalted nuts, fruit, yogurt, hard-boiled eggs, and homemade popcorn without heavy salt. When living with metabolic syndrome, stabilizing energy between meals reduces cravings and supports blood sugar balance, making it easier to resist the siren call of the vending machine. Thirst is often mistaken for hunger or answered with sugary sodas and high-sodium canned drinks. For metabolic syndrome, this is a double hit. Sugar challenges insulin, while sodium strains blood pressure. Favor water, sparkling water with lemon, herbal teas, or modest amounts of coffee without sugary syrups. Flavor-infused waters with cucumber or berries can feel luxurious. Proper hydration supports kidney function, which in turn helps your body manage sodium more effectively. Dinner is often shared, and change can meet resistance. Family members may grumble, missing the salt-drenched dishes they love. Instead of announcing a strict diet, Christopher Lower suggests gradual shifts, using low-sodium broths, rinsing canned beans, reducing salt in recipes while increasing herbs and acid. Serve sauces at the table so others can add more if needed. Over time, most palates adjust. Supporting your metabolic syndrome management can quietly support your family's health as well. One simple, science-backed trick: rinse canned foods. Canned beans, vegetables, and some meats are often packed in salty liquid. Draining and rinsing them under running water can significantly reduce sodium content. In metabolic syndrome, this matters. Less sodium per bite means less pressure on the heart. It takes only seconds, yet over months and years, such habits contribute to a lower average sodium intake without sacrificing convenience or nutrition. Processed meats, bacon, sausages, deli slices are usually very high in sodium and often contain preservatives. For metabolic syndrome, frequent use of these can worsen blood pressure and cardiovascular risk. Shift toward fresh proteins: chicken, fish, eggs, tofu, beans, and lentils prepared with low-sodium methods. Marinating meats in herbs, garlic, citrus, and a little olive oil builds deep flavor without a salt bath. Your heart will feel the difference even before your taste buds fully adapt. Refined carbohydrates, white bread, pastries, many packaged snacks often carry sodium along with quick-digesting starch. They spike blood sugar and sneak in salt, a double challenge for metabolic syndrome. Favor whole grains like brown rice, oats, barley, and whole wheat pasta. When cooked without added salt and combined with vegetables and lean proteins, they digest more slowly, supporting steadier blood sugar and reducing the urge to oversalt for taste. The human tongue adapts. When you reduce sodium gradually, receptors become more sensitive and you start tasting natural flavors again. Studies suggest that within a few weeks, many people find their old salty favorites overwhelmingly intense. Imagine biting into your previous favorite chips and suddenly feeling them as harsh instead of comforting. For metabolic syndrome, this adaptation is a gift. Your body gently guides you toward what it now recognizes as balance. In many processed foods, salt and sugar travel together. Sauces, dressings, breakfast cereals, and snack bars often rely on both to keep you reaching for more. For metabolic syndrome, where insulin resistance and high blood pressure already coexist, this pair deepens the problem. Reducing sodium often means naturally eating fewer ultra-processed foods, which also lowers added sugars. It is like cutting two strings from the same dangerous puppet at once. After a low-sodium day, you may notice small changes. Your fingers feel less puffy, Your rings fit more easily, your face seems less swollen, you might sleep slightly better, wake less parched. These are signs of less fluid retention. For someone with metabolic syndrome, such subtle shifts can signal that the inner pressure has eased a little. While they cannot replace medical tests, they can encourage you that your efforts are touching real biology. For many, a blood pressure reading feels like an exam grade filled with anxiety. Instead, consider it feedback, like a compass. When you combine lower sodium eating with movement, stress management, and any medications your doctor prescribes, readings may gradually improve. Sometimes numbers wobble, and that is normal. What matters is the trend over time. Never change medications on your own. Always consult your physician, especially as your lifestyle habits begin to shift. While this journey focuses on sodium, your body is an orchestra, not a solo. Gentle movement, walking, stretching, light strength training, support circulation, helps manage blood sugar, and can assist in regulating blood pressure. Imagine each walk as helping your blood vessels stay flexible, while your low-sodium meals ease their workload. For metabolic syndrome, combining dietary care with physical activity magnifies benefits. Before starting a new exercise routine, please seek guidance from your physician. Stress often drives cravings for salty, crunchy foods. When you are tense, your body releases hormones that can raise blood pressure. Salty snacks offer quick pleasure but silently worsen the loop. Breaking this pattern involves two gentle acts: lowering sodium access at home and finding new ways to calm, deep breathing, a short walk, calling a friend. For metabolic syndrome, calming your nervous system is as important as calming the contents of your plate. Instead of viewing cooking as a chore, imagine it as a daily healing ritual. Washing vegetables becomes a moment to wash away the day's worries. Chopping onions is a rhythm that steadies your thoughts. Simmering a low-sodium stew fills your home with a scent of care. Christopher Lower's low-sodium recipes invite you to reconnect with your food, transforming the kitchen into a quiet clinic where you tend to yourself one spoonful at a time. Picture a full day shaped by Christopher Lower's low-sodium approach. Oatmeal with berries and nuts for breakfast, a quinoa and bean salad at lunch, snacks of fruit and unsalted nuts, grilled chicken with roasted vegetables and brown rice for dinner, all seasoned with herbs, garlic, and lemon. This day is rich in fiber, controlled in sodium, and balanced in energy. For metabolic syndrome, such patterns, repeated across weeks, can quietly shift weight, blood pressure, and cholesterol. Parties, holidays, and gatherings can feel like sodium storms. Instead of avoiding them entirely, go prepared. Eat a small, healthy snack beforehand so you are not overly hungry. Bring a low-sodium dish to share so you know there is at least one safe option. Focus your plate on vegetables, lean proteins, and smaller portions of salty favorites. For metabolic syndrome, protecting your health should never mean isolating yourself. It simply means arriving with a gentle plan. There will be days when the salty fries win, when stress or celebration drowns your intentions. This is not failure. It is being human. Christopher Lower would remind you that one meal does not define your entire journey. Notice how you feel afterward. Perhaps thirstier, more bloated, more tired, and use that as gentle feedback. For metabolic syndrome, consistency matters more than perfection. Your next low-sodium meal is always an opportunity to realign with your goals. Many people with metabolic syndrome take medications for blood pressure, cholesterol, or blood sugar. Reducing sodium may enhance these treatments, sometimes changing how your body responds. This is why partnership with your healthcare team is vital. Never stop or adjust medications based only on home readings or how you feel. As you adopt a low-sodium lifestyle guided by cookbooks like Christopher Lower's, schedule check-ins with your physician to ensure safety and personalized adjustments. Late-night salty snacks can disturb more than your waistline. Sodium-heavy evenings may lead to nighttime thirst, bathroom trips, and restless sleep. Poor sleep, in turn, worsens insulin resistance, appetite hormones, and blood pressure, key parts of metabolic syndrome. Reducing nighttime sodium and establishing calming bedtime routines can improve both sleep quality and metabolic health. If you struggle with sleep or have sleep apnea symptoms, please consult your physician for proper evaluation. Choose a dish you love, maybe chili, roasted chicken, or pasta sauce. Christopher Lower's philosophy is to adapt, not abandon. Use no salt-added tomatoes, rinse beans, build flavor with onions, garlic, cumin, smoked paprika, and herbs. Suddenly, your comfort food returns, transformed. When you realize that you can still enjoy familiar dishes in low-sodium form, something unlocks inside. The belief that health does not mean exile from pleasure, but a wiser reunion with it. Research shows that even a modest reduction in sodium, about 400 to 500 milligrams per day, can lower blood pressure for many individuals. That might mean skipping one bowl of salty soup or one handful of chips. For metabolic syndrome, each few points of blood pressure reduction reduce strain on your heart and lower the risk of cardiovascular events over time. Your daily choices may seem small, but they are cumulative, like coins steadily filling a jar of protection. Within days of reducing sodium, you may lose some excess water weight and see minor blood pressure improvements. Over weeks, taste buds adapt and cravings ease. Over months, if combined with other healthy habits, you may notice better energy, smaller waist measurements, and improved lab tests. For metabolic syndrome, healing is rarely dramatic or overnight. It is slow, like a sunrise. Trust that each low-sodium meal is adding one more degree of light to your horizon. It can be tempting to reduce yourself to numbers, blood pressure, waist size, lab values, but you are not your diagnosis. Metabolic syndrome is a serious condition, yet it is also a signal that your body wants change. Low-sodium cooking and mindful eating are tools, not to erase who you are, but to protect your ability to live, love, and contribute. You remain the author of your story. Sodium is simply one powerful plot twist you can learn to rewrite. Change feels lighter when shared. Explain to your family or friends why reducing sodium matters for your metabolic syndrome, how it protects your heart and future. Invite them to test new recipes from low-sodium resources like Christopher Lower's cookbook. Let children pick herbs, partners stir pots, friends share their own ideas. When meals become collaborative, low-sodium choices feel less like isolation and more like a collective journey toward well-being. Many traditional cuisines rely heavily on salty ingredients: soy sauce, pickles, cured meats, salty cheeses. Honoring your culture while caring for metabolic syndrome is possible. Seek lower sodium versions of staple condiments, dilute sauces with water and herbs, and balance salty items with plenty of fresh vegetables and whole grains. Consider reserving the saltiest dishes for special occasions instead of daily meals. In this way, you preserve both heritage and heart. Some worry that low-sodium eating will be expensive. In reality, many of the best options are simple and affordable. Dried beans, lentils, brown rice, oats, frozen vegetables, eggs, seasonal fruits, and basic herbs and spices. These form the backbone of many of Christopher Lower's low-sodium dishes. For metabolic syndrome, investing a bit of time in batch cooking these staples can protect both your health and your wallet over the long term. Weight is only one piece of the metabolic syndrome puzzle. As you shift to a low-sodium lifestyle, track non-scale victories. Lower blood pressure readings, improved lab work, increased stamina, better sleep, less swelling. Write them down. When motivation dips, this record becomes proof that your efforts matter. Always review significant changes and any concerning symptoms with your physician so progress can be celebrated and plans adjusted safely. Metabolic syndrome often begins in fear, a scary lab result, a stern warning. Over time, with tools like low-sodium cooking, that fear can soften into partnership. You and your body, once at odds, begin working together. Every time you choose herbs over salt, water over soda, home-cooked over ultra-processed, you send a quiet message. I am on your side. Healing is not a straight line, but with each low-sodium choice, you walk beside your heart instead of against it. Now, gently ask yourself, what is one low-sodium change I can begin today? Perhaps it is swapping your usual breakfast, rinsing canned foods, or removing the salt shaker from the table. Inspired by Christopher Lower's low-sodium approach, you do not need to transform overnight. Begin with one intentional act of care for your metabolic syndrome, then repeat it, And before making significant dietary changes, especially if you take medications, please consult your physician for personalized guidance. As we close this journey through low sodium living for metabolic syndrome, remember your plate is powerful, but you are more powerful still. With guidance from resources like the Essential Low Sodium Cookbook and support from your physician, you can gradually calm the hidden storm in your blood vessels and rediscover energy, clarity, and hope. If this video has helped you, please subscribe to this channel, like this video, and share it with someone who needs encouragement to begin.